Why, hello there, Sir Richard Cackington III here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and today we are going to be taking a look at 4 brand new weapons added into Destiny 2 in the middle of Season of Arrivals. All of these are currently available in the new Exodus-Focused Umbral Engrams, and we're going to be showcasing their stats, perk spawns, and god rolls for both PvE and PvP. It's 4 videos in one, and so let's get started. Now, of course, this week was huge for Destiny 2. The main focus was the launch of a brand new exotic quest and the Ruinous Effigy exotic trace rifle alongside it. But at the same time, just a massive update hit the game, and again, we have new Umbral Engrams to farm for. Now, you unlock these Exodus-Focused Umbral Engrams by doing the new quest available from Zavala, Exodus Preparations. All you need to do is go to the 4 different planetary vendors on Mars, Mercury, Io, and Titan and do the weekly bounty for each of them. Then you will unlock the ability to go to the Prismatic Recaster and turn your Umbral Engrams into these new ones. So there's actually 2 focused versions of these engrams. Let's start with the Assassins focused Exodus Umbral Engram. That contains, firstly, the IKELOS _SR V.0.2, otherwise known as the IKELOS Sniper Rifle. Taking a look at the stats, this belongs to the rapid fire frame sniper archetype, so fastest firing, lowest damage. And this is actually a very good archetype for DPS. It turns out that these are pretty cracked. Even if snipers got a bit of a nerf, that's a different story. Moving on to the perks, we have some very good choices. So we have the normal assortment of barrels. In the first category, however, we do have 3 different extended mag perks with tactical, appended, and extended mag, and all of those are great choices. In fact, those are what you want for a PvE god roll. We then have a very unique perk here with Seraph rounds. Only a few weapons in the game can get this perk. It makes your bullets over-penetrate targets and bounce off hard surfaces. So it's basically like armor penetrating rounds and ricochet rounds rolled into one perk. That is, I think, going to be pretty decent for PvP. Then we've got accurized rounds to increase the range, again not bad in PvP, and a couple of reload increasing perks as well. Now in that first category, the PvE god roll includes either 4th times the charm or triple tap. Both of those are just going to increase your overall damage output because you won't have to reload as often. But if you want to go for the utter god roll, you're going for 4th times the charm. And the reason is because you actually get, if you have an extended mag perk that brings the magazine size to 7, then with 4th times you get 11 total shots before you need to reload, and with triple tap it's only 10, so keep that in mind. For PvP, however, no distractions is looking crisp to reduce your incoming flinch, and moving target just letting you strafe a little bit faster if you are someone who does that is not bad either. In the final perk category, the PvE utter god roll ends with high impact reserves. Often found on things like auto rifles, this is not a good perk with those because it doesn't increase the damage by that much. But on a sniper, it absolutely does matter. Combined with 4th times a charm, that lets you shoot your final few shots and trigger this perk multiple times because you're going to shoot your last couple of bullets. 4th time is going to trigger, you're going to get 2 more bullets back. So you're getting that damage bonus on quite a few shots. It really does matter. Now the PvP utter god roll is going to end with quick draw, and that's going to let you just ready this weapon so much faster, and in a PvP environment that really does matter. Now I actually recently got the roll of tactical mag plus 4th times plus high impact reserves. Let me tell you, that thing's pretty deadly, and there'll be a full video covering that because that's one of the most exciting sniper rolls we've gotten all season. Moving on from there, however, we have the other Assassin's focused weapon, and that is the Berenger's Memory, or however it's pronounced. Now, this is a legendary powered grenade launcher, and looking at the stats, importantly, This belongs to the rapid fire frame archetype. Now this was the recipient of a recent nerf. It used to be the aggressive frame was actually moved into this frame, but it's still outputting pretty considerable DPS, still one of the best. Moving on from the stats to the perks, we have some really interesting options. So we have the normal assortment of launches and so on. Then importantly, spike grenades is available. Spike grenades is going to increase the damage for a direct hit. And when you're talking about a PvE god roll, that is what you want every time for maximum DPS. For PvP, some people enjoy proximity grenades, going to let you more often get a hit on an enemy, and that's here as well. Not to mention high velocity rounds, which a lot of people like too. In that first perk category, what instantly stands out to me is Clown Cartridge. Reloading this weapon randomly overfills it from reserves. Now, the interference grenade launcher from last season, I believe, was absolutely goated just because it was the first GL we saw with Clown Cartridge, and that was an adaptive frame, which lagged just a little bit behind in terms of DPS, but made up for it when it comes to Clown Cartridge. Now you're giving Clown Cartridge to the high DPS archetype, and that matters quite a bit. Now, Field Prep is also an all-star, increasing your reload when crouched, but most importantly, giving you more reserves, which really matters in a long damage phase. Then, in the second perk slot, we have some more fantastic choices. Firstly, Demolitionist. Not only is this going to give you more grenade energy when you get kills, but it means that you can throw your grenade and instantly refill your magazine. Do you know how much damage you're going to do if you reload with Clown Cartridge, shoot 7 to 8 rounds, throw a grenade, and shoot another 5 immediately after that? That is going to be insane, and that's very possible with this weapon. What also stands out to me is auto-loading holster. Now, this lets you shoot off all your rounds, then switch to another weapon, a sniper, the IKELOS Sniper for example, go to town with that, switch back to this weapon, and it'll be reloaded, letting you keep up incredible amounts of damage output. Unfortunately, auto-loading does not work with Clown Cartridge, but still being able to lead off with 7 to 8 rounds and then get 5 rounds later is probably still worth considering. So the role you definitely want to go to is the PvP god roll of spike grenades plus Clown Cartridge and either auto-loading holster or Demolitionist. Honestly, either would be fantastic. Now moving on from there, the other focused engram is the CQC Focused Exodus Umbral Engram, and that contains firstly the IKELOS SMG V1.0.2, otherwise known as the IKELOS SMG. Taking a look at the stats, this belongs to the extremely rare 750 rounds per minute archetype. This is the aggressive frame archetype, doing more damage than the 900s, but shooting quite fast as well. We don't see a lot of these, and it boasts very good range, but very bad stability. Also great handling as well. Moving on to the perks. We do have our normal assortment of barrels, however some worth pointing out are firstly something like Extended Barrel. That is going to increase the range even more, but not hurt your stability. You really don't want full bore because this has low enough stability as it is. Even something like polygonal rifling, which is often looked over, but it provides a plus 10 stability bonus, might be good here. Moving on to the second perk slot, we have steady rounds, and for the PvP goated roll, especially if you're on console, that's what you're going for. If you do get a stability increasing barrel, you might be able to get away with accurized, providing even more range, and this does have seraph rounds as well, which again over penetrates and bounces off hard surface when it comes to your shots. By the way, seraph rounds does provide a secret range bonus, even though it doesn't show it in the stats. Then in the first perk slot, well, for PvE, I think you're going for either Subsistence, where kills partially reload the magazine from reserves, especially when you're dealing more damage per shot. It's very good. I do have a roll with this, and it acts like the best extended mag perk in the game, basically. It's nice to get a triple kill and still have 20 rounds left to go. But for PvP, you're going for dynamic sway reduction, absolutely, to increase the accuracy and stability while holding down the trigger. And by the way, dynamic is also going to be pretty cracked in PvE, just letting you hit more shots way more often. Then, in the final perk category, we have firstly Vorpal Weapon, which is going to increase damage against bosses and guardians in their super, and it's that second part where you should be looking to use it in PvP to take down supers pretty easily. Now, in PvE, I think you're really going for Demolitionist, which is again going to increase your grenade, give you ammo back when you throw a grenade, or Surrounded to give you a raw damage bonus when there's enemies in close proximity. With an SMG, that happens all the time. But for PvP, you're really going for Tap the Trigger, where it gives an initial boost to accuracy and stability on that initial trigger pull, and the absolute PvP god roll, in my opinion, is going to be something like another barrel that increases stability or at least doesn't hurt it, combined with steady rounds, maybe accurized if you're on PC, and then importantly, dynamic sway reduction plus Tap the Trigger to make this usually inaccurate spray and prayer an absolute laser beam. However, the PvE god roll is pretty goated as well. You've got, Seraph rounds, an extended mag perk, even steady rounds would be good too, combined with Subsistence and then Demolitionist or Surrounded. However, it's time to move on to the last weapon we're looking at today, also in the CQC focused engram, and that is the first in, last out legendary energy shotgun. Looking at the stats, importantly, this belongs to the precision frame slug shotgun archetype. So this shoots one single bullet, and this archetype just this season received a massive 30% damage buff to all PvE combatants. These things are putting out a ton of damage. Like, they are absolutely shredding enemies. Even the Chaperone deals massive amounts of damage and has now become a PvE go-to, whereas before it was just regulated to PvP. And looking at the perks, can we do anything similar with this? Well, I think we can. So, normal assortment of barrels, that's not as important. Then we do have, importantly, Assault Mag to increase your rounds per minute to 70. That's going to straight increase your DPS. We also have Appended Mag, Tactical Mag, and Extended Mag to increase the magazine size. That's important as well. When we go to the first perk slot, we have, importantly, Auto Loading Holster. So you can holster this weapon and it reloads the full magazine. And if you have something like Tactical, that's 7 rounds back in a couple of seconds after stowing this. That matters quite a bit. If you don't want that, Outlaw is pretty decent as well. With a slug shotgun, very easy to get precision kills, and that's going to drastically increase the reload speed. Now, in that final perk category, Demolitionist PvE All-Star is back, and I think that's going to be a phenomenal role, but we also have, importantly, Vorpal Weapon. And here, on a special weapon that outputs significant DPS, this is where you want it. This is the kind of weapon you are going to want to use against bosses. We also have Surrounded, which is not bad either, but I think the PvE god roll is going to be Assault Mag or an Extended Mag perk, plus Auto Loading Holster, and then Vorpal, with maybe Demolitionist as second place. And that is going to, again, provide significant damage output. I think that's going to be really, really good. Now, let's not forget, slug shotguns can carry their weight in PvP, and you want a range increasing barrel like full bore, for example. Then you definitely want accurized rounds for even more range. Then you're really going for slide shot, where sliding partially reloads your magazine and improves range and stability. Then you're combining that with opening shot, improved accuracy and range on the opening shot of an attack. That is also an absolutely cracked PvP roll. Like, that would be absolutely nutty. Anyone who likes slug shotguns should be going for that roll, because actually this is the only legendary slug shotgun in the game that is not sunsetting come the fall expansion, unless more are added, obviously. So this thing should be getting a lot more attention than it currently is. It has some phenomenal rolls. Guys, good luck getting them. And that is it for the video. Hope you enjoyed, found this informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKackis. That's linked in the description down below. Again, hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.